Your Dandy Digger is equipped with two separate auger drivetrain protection systems. The variable speed drive system, when digging at mid to low RPM, allows slippage when the auger hooks something and stops turning. The heavy-duty shear device protects the powertrain from shock load when the auger hits something solid while turning at high speed. All components above the shear device have a minimum of a 2-to-1 safety factor built in. What this means is, the shock load needed to shear the pins only loads any component to half its design maximum workload. So when you shear pins, you don't need to worry about breaking your machine, or even being hard on it. To replace the shear pins once they've sheared, raise your power section all the way up and lock it. Turn off both tractor and digger ignition and exit your machine. With a pair of pliers, unwrap the old shear pin mounting wires from around the two 5/16 bolts on your outer shear drum. Pull out both of the shear pins and discard. On your inner shear drum, if the two shear pins haven't already fallen out, simply push them from the inside out with your finger to remove them. Place two new shear pins on top of your power section chain guard. Remove the complete U-joint inner drum unit from your auger and insert it into the outer shear drum. Be sure your shear drum is greasy. If not, refer to your maintenance manual. Once the inner shear drum is in place, align one of the shear pin holes. Look through the hole. If you can see all the way through the opposite hole, insert the shear pins into the holes. If you can't see through, rotate the inner shear drum 180 degrees. Then insert the shear pins. Bend the shear pin mounting wire around the head of the 5/16 bolt. Push the loop behind the head, then squeeze down on the loop slightly. Repeat for the opposite shear pin. It's very important to have this loop. The shear pin moves slightly while you're digging, so if the mounting wire is wrapped too tight, it may break off on the weld, allowing the shear pin to be thrown out. With your tractor engine running, seatbelt fastened, RPM set at about 6 to 8 gallons per minute, and shifted into low-range four-wheel drive, lower the power section to where the U-joint is close to the auger drive bar. Use the auxiliary hydraulic auger drive to rotate the U-joint to the proper position, then lower the U-joint onto the drive bar. Never allow anyone to help place the U-joint back onto the drive bar. Turn off your ignition, exit the machine, and reinstall the auger pin. The Dandy Digger is designed so that all the components above the shear drum are loaded to no more than half their maximum workload to shear the pins. Under most conditions, at mid-range auger RPM, the variable speed drive system will slip if the auger stops while digging. If you don't shear pins once in a while when digging in tough conditions, you're not working your machine hard enough.